So here's what you're in for if you need to do these panels. You have to split the front end, get the radius right, put fillets in. You're going to have to split the top corner up there, move that in. You're going to have to re-roll the entire bottom end, add an extra 20 mil to where it's rolled, and re-weld all those bits up. And it is frustrating, but what you end up with is that. All right, we're back again today on the Crusty charge. We're going to try and get a bit done on this quarter panel today, in between some other things. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a few more tech screws in so that we can hold the panel in place and keep that nice and flush with the joggle. I have done the repair down here, that's all done. I'm very happy with how that came out. I have also prepped here and gave it a coat of weld through primer, and I've also cleaned up the inside here. The inside of these quarter panels on these Valiants has a layer of body deadener or sound deadener, so you want that gone to allow your joggle to sit nice and flush. So I'll fix the panel in place using these screws. And then we'll fit screws every couple of inches along here just to hold this nice and flush. So probably start in the middle, I reckon. No. I think I might actually drill it off the car, so what I'm going to do is just put a heap of spots to drill. And we'll take it back off and drill those holes. Now we'll start some screws in each of these holes. I've got one more to do, but I'll do that on the car. We'll start the screws in all of these holes, and then we'll use them to pull the panels together. Alright, so now we can offer our panel up. and we can secure it using these screws. I'll pop a couple more in here. So that now pulls our panel joggle hard up, which gives us a great starting point to try and keep it nice and flush. So I do need to make up this section in here, but I will get the main seam welded first, and I also need to set the distance here, which I luckily have the edge of this bumper recessed to use as a reference point down to there. So we'll do up here and along here in a series of tacks and slowly build up a full weld, then remove the screws and obviously weld up the holes we've created putting those screws in. So this is what we're looking at now. And on the inside, you can see we've cleaned up that sound deadener just to allow it to pull in nice and flush. Alright, so we're just going to set up our welder, but before we take the welder to it, I'm just going to double check my distances and confirm there where I want them to be. So I'm happy with that. So we'll start tacking away. We'll start at the end here, just to give it its just to hold it in place. Then we're going to cool these welds down with air in between each pass of tacks. Pull it down again. And we'll go again. Cool it up again. So we'll take our grinder and give it a very rough grind back and just look for any spots that we need to go back and fill, pinholes and gaps that are hidden under other welds. So we don't want to take too much material off here, we just want to knock the top off and use the zippy wheel to do the final cleanup. Alright, we'll get the zippy wheel and just give it another once over. It looks pretty good, like as far as gaps go. Alright, so I've got one tiny pinhole just here, and I can see that from the inside. So I've been on the inside and just cleaned up the welds, particularly where those screw holes went through. So there's a spot down that corner, I don't know if it'll show up in the video, but I can see the tiniest bit of light through there. So I'm going to fill that pinhole and zip it back, and we're looking pretty good. Still there, it's right at the top. Got it. Happy with that? So there it is, our quarter is welded on. Cleaned up this inner surface here. I'm just going to run a bit of weld through over just as a bit of a sealant. Obviously we want to prevent anything from any moisture from going down inside this joggle. It will get seam sealer down the track. For now, that just seals it, and the beauty of painting all this with weld through as well is any pinholes will show up. Alright, here's what we've got. Work on this panel is by no means done, but we're just going to throw a sprinkle of weld through on it just to seal it. We will be revisiting this to finalise the bodywork. Make this patch here, make this patch here. For now, we just want to seal it. I'm aware there's rust there. I'm going to come back and prepare that more, but for now, I just want to protect, particularly in and around the welds. And also by putting a coat of this on, we'll see any pinholes that come through the welds, and being weld through prime, we can then go back and address that. So just give it a sprinkle. So that's her for now. And we're going to start looking at this inner. Now, I've been in and sat this inner panel roughly in place. Not the best gap at the front, but I reckon that'll clamp up. When we clamp it, I reckon that'll close up enough for us to deal with that. Along the bottom, it actually sits grouse. It looks really, really good. Tiny little taper up there, but I reckon that'll come out in the wash. But I'll jump in, bear with me. Ugh. Now I know I've got clamps and everything in the way, but if you can see this leading edge, where are we? Look at that. So it looks like I've got a bit of work to do. Let's go. All right, so I'm going to pull this back out because I've only just sat it in here and positioned it. What I need to do is put the boot floor in and mark where the end of the boot floor is, because I really can't maneuver this at all with the boot floor in. So I'm going to need to get it all fitted up nicely, put it in place, then the boot floor is going to have to go in. I think that's going to happen on both sides. And the other thing that I think is going to give me problems is this side won't be so bad because I've got the drain pipe, the boot gutter drain pipe cut out, but on this side, manoeuvring it in with this here is going to be a real pain in the backside. I think the only other way to do it will be to put the car on stands and actually drop the spring shackle and come up from underneath. There is no room to move at all. But we'll make it work. Alright, if I had $1 for every time I put this in and out, I'd be a rich man. Alright, so I've locked our boot floor in place. So what we're going to do now is just mark some really defining lines of where the boot floor comes to, and we're going to try and get the quarter panel fitted up within those margins without the boot floor in. If we can get everything to sit nice, then we'll drop the boot floor in and see how everything marries up. And obviously same for the right hand side. So I'll find a nice paint mark and we'll put some nice marks in. Ouch. Without bashing my elbow, and we will mark both sides up, pull the boot floor back out again, then we'll go again. We'll start on the left hand side here, and I reckon we're going to have to cut shut and section that front leading edge of the panel. Otherwise it sits not too bad, but it's way out at the front there, so I'm talking 10 mil. The radius is wrong, so I'm going to have to re-roll part of it, and I reckon cut and shut probably 3/4 or 2/3 of it as well. So just going to mark a couple of hard lines. Nothing extravagant, but just essentially where we can work up to with positioning that panel. On both sides. Alright, so we're going to have a go at popping this back in. And you've got to sort of Tetris it in as best you can. apologies for the noise there. Alright, so I'll give you a better view of this. Hold my light in the spot we can see. So that's how we're looking at the inside. It's actually marrying up not too bad, but that radius is, yeah, way, way, way out. And then the rest of it we're going to have to split and bring forward to meet up with the wheel arch. So I might actually, I might actually go around the outside and draw a line down here and flatten this out first, put it back in, and then it'll give me somewhere to cut from, and I'll cut straight up, and then I will bring this in against the wheel arch. Then I'll have to measure the gap at a few points and then make a piece to fill it. So I reckon we'll look at that next. So here's a view from the outside. So that bit there is going to have to be flattened out. To allow it to sit inside with the panel. So the radius doesn't really match, but that's not super critical as long as there's enough material the whole way down to get a plug weld against. So I'm going to flatten out this area here, and then I'm going to cut along this very radius the whole way up. Then I'm going to put the panel back in, then we're just going to be able to push that edge out to meet, and that should allow us to have it meet up a bit. I'm also going to bring this in again a little bit because they're so close to fitting nicely. So I'll clean this up a little bit. I might even slot this and bring this fold in a bit just to give us that final bit of clearance I feel like we need. And then we will put it in and have another go at fitting it. And once we're happy with how it sits, we will then come in, weld this, and then this will all be sectioned, because this has got a massive radius in it, but on the car it's actually a lot closer to straight, and that's why it doesn't sit right. And this fold also needs to come way, way out. So we'll get on with that. All right, so we've re-rolled that edge. We will clean that up later and it will get trimmed off. Don't worry about that. Where I cut it there, I've just welded, and that's mainly to keep this tab in place, because I've separated this and we're going to put it in place, and then we're going to bend this out to match the radius of the quarter panel. And then we're going to have to strategically take some measurements so that we can hold it in that position once we pull it out, and then we're going to have to make a fillet to go in there to take up that gap. So I've bent up here a little bit as well, just to give a little bit more room to move at that front edge. So yeah, once we get that all sorted out, we get this in a position, we can weld a fillet in there, we can weld that up, and we'll be pretty close to our final resting place. Then we can start prepping it for welding it in, so grinding back surfaces and weld through prime and all that. So it's a bit of a job. Alright, I'm not sure how well this is going to show up, but the other thing we need to do now, that will allow it to go in, so that's closer aligned with where it needs to be. Now we've folded that up, and now we can push that in to open up that gap. But now the problem we have now is it won't push back enough to sit inside the panel. So we either need to bend a radius on it, or we need to move this fold at the bottom a little bit. So I think we're going to flatten that out and bring that fold up about 5 mil, I reckon. And that should allow us to push right in, because it does need to clamp against here. So awesome. Alright, so I'll just flatten that out somewhat, and I'll try and put a new bend in it. It's really disappointing having to butcher a nice new panel like this, but it is what it is. Alright, so I've been and re-rolled the bottom of this. I made a bit of a mess of it, and I've tried not to go too high because of the drain plug hole here, but it's still not enough. So I've added about 10 mil onto that fold, and it still needs another 5 or 10 mil, which is going to be eaten into our drain hole. So I'm going to have to fill that and relocate that. We'll make it work. It's just so frustrating, and I'm making a mess of it because obviously I don't have proper sheet forming tools. I'm just working with vices and bits of angle iron and vice grips and all that. So yeah, it's such a disappointment, but we will persevere and do something with it. But yeah, I'm going to bring it up probably at least another 5 mil. I'll try and get a better bend this time. Yeah, it's just this corner here won't allow it to push in, so I might even need to put a bit of a radius on it. It's so frustrating. But anyway, this is what we signed up for, so let's go. Alright, you probably can't see much for the clamps. We've done some re-rolling or butchery. We've still got our drain hole, just. I think I might have to just sort of tap it in a little bit just so there's room for the drain plug to grip because it's right against the quarter. But that's okay, we can live with that. So we're sitting flush the whole way along. Top, oops, sorry. Top looks good. I'm happy with that where it's sitting. It's right on our red lines. So all we've got to contend with now is this wheel arch. So it's not going to tuck right back, I don't think. Oops, sorry. But it's going to tuck in enough that we can get some welds on to hold it. And we'll have that small return flange there. So I'll do a bit more playing around and we might refine it a bit more, but we're getting there. But we're not there yet. We've still got to weld that closure panel in. All right, so we took that measurement and we've just welded all the way down to bring this out. I've cut the top off as well because that piece of metal is a bit stretched and it was bunching up because there's too much length in it. So what we're going to do now is put it in for 2 reasons. One, make sure what I've done so far fits, and also try and find some alignment for this last little bit of the flange. If we can get that shape right, we can then close that off, weld it onto there, close this gap here, and then we should be just about done with the butchery, which I would very much welcome because it's been a job. So we've closed up that gap quite a way. It clamps together nicely. So I've just got to try and get the shape on that top section there, and we will be looking good. All right, I'm just about out of time today, but by my light, there you go. All right, so just about out of time today, but I'm kind of glad this is over. So, sitting pretty nice up here, pretty much on our red lines. I think the front will be close with whether or not the boot floor will fit, but we'll try that in just a sec. Down here, You can see where I've cut and sectioned all of that front edge to make it fit. Oops, sorry. So there is a bit of a gap and it will push in, but that flange is at least somewhat in behind the wheel arch there. So we'll be able to plug weld that all together. Not bad at the bottom, a couple little whoops, but honestly, considering the way I did it, I'm very, very happy with how that came out. So, oh, excuse me. Just a view from the top. So that sits pretty good. So what we'll do now is drop the boot floor in and just see if it's going to fit. Something's stopping this corner from going down. It's actually the panel. The panel's actually supposed to drop down a bit, so that's another rework I'm going to have to do. That's no biggie. But my screw holes are lining up. I've only got a couple of clamps on here. Man, that's a sight for sore eyes. That looks so good. I can't wait till this is done. So we're still good everywhere. That'll go down once I screw it down. Alignment there, it's pretty good. This just needs to go up a tiny bit. Well, sorry, the boot floor actually needs to go down a tiny bit. I'm very, very happy to be looking at. We've got one issue we need to fix, which is here. There's a mismatch between the boot in height between the boot floor and the quarter panel, and that's because the boot floor actually should drop down in that corner. I've already reworked this back edge a little bit because the tapers here don't meet up properly with the reinforcement. I've got that pretty good, but now I've just got to find a way to get this corner to drop down a bit. We'll nut that out. To demonstrate what I mean, if you look underneath, there's a little section here where it drops down. It's sitting good the rest of the way now after I reworked it, but that corner's going to need some work. I need that to drop down about 8mm, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to form that. There's a look underneath. So there's still a tiny bit of work to do on that. I've got to get all this to match up, but along the bottom there actually sits pretty good. So it's been a frustrating job, but when you stand back and look at this, it's pretty quickly forgotten. So I reckon that's going to do us for now. I don't know, I don't think I'll film doing the right hand one unless it's something different, totally different happens. But so yeah, left hand all aligned. We've really just got to do the right hand side now, and a bit of work on the corners, the back corners of the boot floor, and it's almost time for the main event, so that's exciting. Well, that's going to do it for now. I appreciate you sticking around till the end if you made it this far. It was a bit of a long and frustrating one, particularly these inner quarter panels, making them fit. Took a whole lot more work than I expected, but the result is certainly looking like it's worth it. So thanks for sticking around. If you enjoyed this, another channel you should check out is Aussie Charger Revival. Guy on there, Mike, is doing a 71 Charger VH770. He's putting a bit of a custom twist on it, but I'll put a link or a screenshot at least up. The amount of work he's churned out so far on it is amazing. He's only got a couple of videos up, but this thing looks like it's going to come together really fast, and he's going to do an impressive job on it. So yeah, definitely give Mike a follow and a subscribe and have a look. And if you haven't subscribed here and you want to see more of this tub get put together, hit the bell there as well. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I really appreciate it. So take care, and I'll see you on the next one.